In this demonstration, you will create a reusable Detail View Model base class that we can use as a base class for the friend Detail View model and also for other Detail View models. Here I've opened the iDetail View Model interface that we have created at the beginning of this module. It has the method loadAsync and the property hasChanges. I have already created the Detail View Model base class that implements this iDetail View Model interface. As you can see, the class inherits from ViewModelBase to get the iNotify property changed implementation. The Detail View Model base class is abstract, so that you need to inherit from this class. The constructor takes an iEventAggregator and stores it in the read-only field EventAggregator. It also initializes the two properties SaveCommand and DeleteCommand with new delegate commands. When I scroll down in this class, you can see that the execute methods for these commands are abstract. This means the subclass needs to implement them. Now what's in addition here? I have added the loadAsync method, and this one is also abstract. Here you can see the hasChanges property that is not abstract. It's a full implementation of this property, so we don't need to implement it in a subclass. Then when I scroll down a bit, you can also see the two methods raceDetailDeleted and raceDetailSaved. These methods are used to publish the events with the event aggregator. As you can see in these methods, I get the view model name by using the method getType on the current instance and grabbing the name from that type. This means from a subclass we don't need to pass in the view model name to these methods. When I scroll down a bit more, you can see this is it. This is the whole Detail View Model base class. Now let's open up the friend Detail View Model and let's inherit from our new Detail View Model base class. So I change here View Model Base to Detail View Model Base. I can get rid of this event aggregator field, and I need to call the base constructor from the friend Detail View Model constructor, because that constructor requires the event aggregator. I remove here the initialization of the event aggregator field that we have just removed. When I scroll down a bit, you can see that here the properties SaveCommand and DeleteCommand are initialized. We have this as well in the base class, so let's remove it. Then here we have the loadAsync method, and it's underlined in green. Visual Studio says it hides the inherited member loadAsync. Let's explicitly override that method from our base class. Now I scroll down a bit, and here we have the hasChanges property. We can remove this property completely. Also, the properties SaveCommand and DeleteCommand can be removed. Now the next thing is the onSaveExecute method. We just need to override here the method from the base class, but the base method is protected. Inside of the method, we need to publish the afterDetailSaved event. Now we can use the method from the base class, which is called raceDetailSaved. We just need to pass in the friend ID like we do it here. And we need to pass in the new display member like we do it here. This raceDetailSaved method will create the afterDetailSaved args for us with the correct view model name by using the getType method. So we can remove this code block here. The next thing is the onSaveCanExecute method. We also need to make this one protected override. Then I scroll down to the next one, which is the onDeleteExecute method, and I make this one also protected, and I override it from the base class. Inside of this method, we publish the afterDetailDeleted event. So also here I use the base class method raceDetailDeleted, and I pass in the ID of the deleted friend. That's it, and I can remove this whole code block. Now we are done with the refactoring of the friend Detail View Model, and we have moved a bit of logic into a Detail View Model base class. Let's see if the application still compiles and if it works. The application comes up, and I can select a friend, and everything works as expected. Let's change the first name here. Let's add my second name. I hit save, and you can see the friend has been updated in the navigation. So everything works as before, but now we have refactored the code so that we can integrate a new entity very easy into this application. Let's wrap up what we have done in this module. At the beginning of this module, you learned how to create the Detail View Model property in the main view model, and we have also introduced the iDetail View Model interface, which is the type for this property. Now this property can be used with any iDetailView model and not just with the FriendDetailView model. You have also learned how to adjust the friend-specific event classes in the Friend Organizer application so that we can use these event classes also with different DetailView models. You also know how to build a generic repository class that can be used as a base class for our repositories. In the last clip, we have also created the DetailView model base class that is the base class for all the DetailView models in the Friend Organizer application. The FriendDetailView model inherits from this DetailView model base class. So in fact, these are the details. But in one sentence, you learned in this module how to make the code reusable for other detail views. In the next module, we will introduce another detail view in the Friend Organizer application. Beside the existing Friend detail view, you will create the Meeting detail view that is used to display meetings in the Friend Organizer application. Welcome to the module introducing another detail view. My name is Thomas Claudius Huber. The Friend Organizer application contains the Friend detail view to display the details of a friend. In this module, we will introduce the Meeting detail view so that we can display the details for a meeting, a new entity that we create in this module. As we have refactored the code in the Friend Organizer application in the previous module to support other detail views, introducing the Meeting detail view should be straightforward. Let's take a look at the module outline so that you know what we have to do. The first thing that we need to do is to create a meeting entity and a meeting repository. Creating the meeting entity means that we also need to do a DB migration with Entity Framework code first. We will define the meeting entity in such a way that a meeting can have many friends and that a friend can have many meetings, so we have a many-to-many relationship. After we have set up the database and the meeting repository, we will create a meeting detail view model and the corresponding meeting detail view. Now we are able to display meetings, but somehow the user needs to choose them. So we will also show the meetings in the navigation below the friends. This allows the user to navigate either to a friend or to a meeting in the Friend Organizer application. In the final step, we will ensure that we have implemented the typical use cases like, for example, adding new meetings in the Friend Organizer application. Now let's start with the meeting entity and the meeting repository. In this demonstration, we will create the meeting entity and we will migrate and seed the database. After we have done this, we will also create the meeting repository that can be used from the view model to load and save meetings. Let's start with the meeting entity and let's switch to Visual Studio. Here I've opened the Friend Organizer application. In the Friend Organizer model project, I have already created the meeting class. As you can see, the meeting class has an ID property as we want to create a data table from that entity. It has a title property of type string that is required and can have a maximum length of 50. It has also the two properties date from and date to specify a start and end date for the meeting. At the bottom it has the friends property that is an I collection of friend entities. This friends property is initialized in the meeting constructor with an empty collection of friends. So that's the meeting entity. The special thing is that a meeting can have many friends. Beside adding this meeting class, I have also adjusted the friend class. As you can see, the friend class has now also a meetings property that is of type I collection of meeting. In the constructor of the friend class, I initialize this property with an empty collection of meetings. This means a friend can have many meetings, and on the other side, a meeting can have many friends. So we have a many-to-many relationship. Now as these entities are set up, we can continue in the data access project of the Friend Organizer application. In the Friend Organizer DB context class, I have created already a meetings property of type dbSet of meeting. We can use this property to load and save meetings with the Friend Organizer DB context. So far everything is set up and we can open up the Package Manager console to add a code first migration for our changes. So here I use the add migration command and I call the migration edit meeting. I hit enter and I get the error no migration configuration type was found in the assembly Friend Organizer UI. Of course, I need to change the default project here to Friend Organizer Data Access. This Data Access project contains the configuration. So let's run the add migration command again with the name edit meeting. Now a code first migration has been added to our migrations folder. As you can see, this code first migration creates the meeting table in the database with the properties like we have specified them on the meeting entity. But it also creates the meeting friend table that is used for the many-to-many relationship between a meeting and a friend. As you can see, this table has the columns meeting ID and friend ID. The meeting ID column points to the meeting table and the friend ID column points to the friend table. On both columns there is an index and the primary key is using both of these columns. Now we can run the update database command to migrate our database. But before we do this, I want to seed an entry into the meeting table, so we can open up the configuration class in the migrations folder. As you might remember, this configuration class contains the seed method where we can seed the database when we call the update database command in the package manager console. At the bottom of this method, I have already implemented some code. Here I use the meetings DB set and I call the add or update method on that DB set. As a key, I use the title of a meeting, and here I just insert one single meeting with the title Watching Soccer. The meeting has two friends, the friend with the name Thomas Huber and the friend with the name Urs Meier. So now let's open up the package manager console and let's run the update database command. As you can see, the edit meeting migration has been applied and the seed method has been executed. Now let's check if everything is okay in the database. I open up the Server Explorer and I expand the database. Here you see we have the new tables meeting and meeting friend. I right-click on the meeting table and I select Show Table Data. Here we go, we have a single meeting in this table with the title Watching Soccer like we have defined it in the seed method of our configuration class. When I right-click on the meeting friend table and I select Show Table Data, we can see two entries for this meeting ID 1. The friends with the ID 1 and 2 participate in that meeting. And as you might guess, the friends with the ID 1 and 2 are Thomas and Urs, like we have specified it in the seed method of the configuration class. Now also interesting, when I right-click on the meeting friend table and I select Open Table Definition, you can see the foreign keys defined on that table. Here you see the high level, but we can also look at the T-SQL code at the bottom. For example, this is the foreign key from the meeting friend table to the meeting table. You can see the meeting ID column of this table references the ID column of the meeting table. Also, the friend ID column of this table references the ID column of the friend table. So now our entities and also the database are set up. Let's continue with the creation of the meeting repository.